My name's Isaac, better known as IzzyTheBricky. This week, Drew and I started our brand new, very large extension. You guys are watching the new instalment of IzzyTheBricky Weekly. Wednesday morning, and we are on a brand new extension. Before we crack on today, I'm going to take you guys around and show you what we're going to be working with. Now, this extension is a bricklayer's dream, and let me tell you why. As you can see, the entire site is full of materials. We have all of our bricks here, we have all of our blocks here. The client has brought around everything. Secondly, it is one massive rectangle in between these steels. So we've got a massive solid wall here with just an expansion joint in, and on that side over there we have just got a few windows and a few doors. So there is loads to be cracking on with, and I'm really excited to get this job going. The client is really handy and he has done a lot of the block and beam floor. However, Drew and I are just wrapping up the final little bits and bobs. We're just packing in these beams into the existing property. We're going to finish off doing the rest of the block work, and then hopefully later on we'll be starting the brickwork and block work down this main run. I know you guys might be thinking, it's Wednesday, whatever happened to Tuesday? We all tuned in to see how Drew got on with this work over the weekend.
Drew, he is putting up all of this starter packs. He's coming in this weekend to put up that big wall there. So it's a bricklayer's dream, that is.
It should be totally fine, so I'm excited to see the end result. Well, I was also excited to see Drew's work over the weekend, but in all fairness, he had a couple of problems, wasn't too much to show, and it meant we had to go crazy fish yesterday just blasting out that wall. But the mansion build is at a nice stage right now. We will be going back at a future date. We are setting up our block work and face brickwork down this tight alleyway. The cavity on this job is 100mm insulation. This is because it got planning permission and approved back in 2021, I want to say. New regulations now state 125mm or 150mm cavity to allow for that large insulation. I know a couple of you might be thinking, half the extension's already built. There were some other bricklayers here previously who had got the footings in and set all the steels out and did a bit of the block and beam in the middle walls, but they've just never come back. I've checked over all their work and heights and everything's pretty bang on, and even if it wasn't, I'm not here to call people out. As you can see, we are working down a very tight alleyway, and this is all going to be block work up to a certain height, and then we're going to add a couple more bricks. Now, before we set out our face block work, we need to find our finished floor level. So I will go inside and take a reading, but I've been told by the client that it's 100mm insulation on top of our block and beam, and then 75mm worth of screed on top. So that is our finished floor level, and that is what we're going to be working down to. Yesterday we left off speaking about our finished floor level, and I explained how we wanted another 160mm on top of this block and beam to get to our finished floor. But I said I was going to go inside and take some readings. After going inside and taking a reading, we discovered that this is actually our finished floor level here. So we were quite far off. We were about 40 to 50mm off with what we assumed was our finished floor level. Now, we took this reading from a part of the house where it's going to be knocked through and the extension is going to be flush with the existing floor level. This doorway here is going to be taken out, and our floor level is going to be running through into this existing part. Now, there is going to be a small knock through over there, but this is the critical part where we want the floor level to run through really level and flush. This morning, Drew and I got our first course of block down this dead tight alleyway. We discovered that there was about a 50mm hump in the footing, so we ended up having to do a load of block splits to get over this hump. But I always prefer to put my cuts right at the bottom of the footing and then bring everything up in full blocks. A few days ago on the mansion build, we were digging and pouring some footings, and I roughly explained how to pour your footing to a certain level to allow masonry to go in and hit your finished floor level. I go from finished floor level 225 down, and that is my concrete mark. And then all of this down to the bottom of my trench, 375mm, is concrete. In this case, we already have a datum or a finished floor level we are wanting to hit, which is this block here. And we also have our footing already poured, okay? So we need to work out what goes in to this area here. all I have done, I've measured from my block, which is finished floor level, down to my footing, and it's left us with a measurement of 1 meter, 110 millimeters, okay? And I've just drawn this diagram because I know you guys love my diagrams, trying to figure out what goes into this area. We know our 75 mil times table, which is gauge, and I've done that all here for you DIYers and apprentices who don't know it very well. We can try and figure out the closest gauge to our 1 meter, 110 millimeters. So if we go through our gauge, we are trying to find the gauge which is closest to this measurement. We land on this one here, which is 1 meter, 125 millimeters, which is 15 bricks. Now you can see that there's a difference of 10 millimeters or 15 millimeters from the measurement we have here to the measurement there. All we need to do is crash down this corner 15 millimeters to hit our gauge mark. So I've pushed down the bed joints. I've crashed these bed joints down only slightly, and now I'm just measuring from my brickwork to my finished floor level, and we are constantly checking to make sure that we have hit our mark. So if you come in here close, you'll be able to see 675, right? And if we just refer back to here, we can see that 675 is gauge, meaning this corner is pretty much level. As long as we continue going gauge from this point forward, we shouldn't have any problems. And that's how you work out what goes into this area from your footing to your datum or your finished floor level. These blocks we are using are 7 Newton concrete blocks, and I don't know if any of you bricklayers have used these particular ones before, but they are so rough and really crumbly and they tear up your hands. But luckily for Drew and I, we've got our Ansel gloves on. The good thing about these, they've got an extra padded part there, so we're always picking up these blocks with that part of our thumbs. I've had these for about 4 weeks now and they're still lasting.
Going to the gym, man.
He's been going to
the gym.
Always where you tie for work, yeah? Friday morning and we are back on the job. Right now we are working down this tight alleyway for the final half an hour while I get the last 85 bricks down this run. Now I'm setting up my air ventilation. These are telescopic vents, and what these do, they allow air to flow from the outside of the building under our block and beam floor, and this just makes sure that there is no damp and moisture what gets trapped. Spacings for our ventilation is every 1500. I have done it every 900 in the past before, but 1500 is perfectly fine. Just a quick one for any of you bricklayers out there who are struggling to use your air vents. This is how it comes straight from the factory. You can see it's got this annoying lip for where it is actually cast. It's got all of these little annoying bits on, and when you try and put your air vent in, you really struggle to get it in because they stop it from going back. Something I prepared earlier is this one. You can see the slight difference. I've trimmed the top and I've gotten rid of all of those annoying little bits. So now our air brick slots in really nice, and we'll be able to lay it to the line pretty perfect. I like to make sure it's already in its casing, otherwise when you try and push it in you will struggle to do it. Now we're going to tap it down to the line just like a normal brick, and that is pretty much it. Sometimes you'll find that it wants to pop up, so it might be helpful just to put a half brick on it to keep it in position, but in this case I actually don't need to because it was expertly laid by yours truly. Right, we're going to get the rest of these down here and then we'll catch up with you guys in a little bit when we start blasting all of the block work on the opposite side. Sound.
Oh. No, why are you doing the most?
Come say hello to your friend.
That's disgusting.
He's gone now.
I've gone now.
You've gone now.
Keep him around there with you. Keep him around there.
It's just gone about 2:10 and we have finally finished up doing all of our floor prep for this side. We have installed all of our vents and things like that. We've done all of our block work cuts. All we need to do now is put in some concrete on this side down the cavity, but we'll go over that later. We are going to start tackling the block work on this side because we still need to do all of our internal walls to set out. So there's still a lot of bits and bobs to do, but we're going to crack on right now. So lots to do before we break up for a long weekend. There we go, that is where we are leaving it for this week. We ended up getting in 2 course of block down there. We pointed and finished off this entire side. All we need to do is the wet course or 1 more block down that side to be ready for our DPM insulation and the concrete to be poured. A busy week. We have torn through a lot of materials on this job already. Even though we've only been here for 3 days, we finished the floor, done some brickwork, messed about down the alleyway for a while. And next week we'll be back here on Tuesday, blasting in the rest and taking everything up to a finished floor level. On that note, Drew and I will catch you guys next week when we're sending everything else up to finished floor level. Thank you very much for watching. We do both appreciate it. Enjoy your long weekend. We'll catch you next time.